Didn't you?
Nah.
Did you have anything?
Didn't you have friends?
MSN Messenger, but I never got onto MySpace.
Yeah.
I was a late bloomer on Facebook as well. Facebook was out for 2 or 3 years before I got onto that.
Yeah, same as everyone. You know that guy from MySpace, Tom, everyone's first friend? He ended up selling...
I unfriended him, by the way.
Oh, me too.
I didn't know you could.
Yeah, he can.
Damn it. Stupid
So many
picture.
regrets.
He sold MySpace to, I think, like Yahoo or something for a couple of bill. And now he's just travels the world in a private jet taking photos and posting them on Instagram.
I thought you were going to say putting it on Facebook. That would have been a classic.
And then his Instagram photo is that original one of him sitting at the desk smiling to the camera. That was
Sick.
his MySpace profile.
Well, I actually like him now.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow him.
Yeah, I followed him for about a
MS-DOS
month and he's so annoying. So
Yeah.
great pictures though.
Great. I mean,
So he's a
great
good
people.
photographer.
Great. If he wants to sponsor the show, jump on board, get in contact. Tom from MySpace. And his Instagram handle is MySpace Tom.
Oh, nice.
He needs to let go. He hasn't let go of that yet.
No, it made him a billionaire.
No, but he still wishes he was going to the MySpace offices every day. If he's still,
Yeah, true.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he owned the world until Facebook took over.
I think he got off pretty lightly. Why would Yahoo buy MySpace? Who uses MySpace anymore?
Who uses
Yahoo?
Exactly.
Get Into Gate. This is episode 86, brought to you by MySpace, the full Get Into Gate team, plus more this week. My name is Mitch. Joining me, as always, Matty Gibson,
Yo.
Brendan Gibson,
Oh, hey,
There he
Gilbin.
is. Put it back in your pants.
Sorry.
and Rhys doing.
Yeah, g'day guys.
Now, making his debut on this show, you might have caught him a couple of weeks ago on our sister podcast, Get Into Geek, talking Mission Impossible Fallout. Just to keep this all in the family, we got 3 Gibsons, 2 of them brothers. Now we got a cousin involved of you 2 brothers.
Ancestral.
If you've got a whiteboard, start drawing up the circles. And Joz, welcome. Here to talk Stargate for the first time.
Come try.
Oh, you're that guy. Well, that makes sense. Next
Still,
week.
it's this and this. The whole family tree within this room is still more intricate than Stargate Origins. So
Oh, good call.
Very much so.
Now, I want to
that's our
start,
weekly shit on Origins. So let's keep going.
as Mitch just said, Joz is our cousin, Joshua Ball, the one and only.
Thank you.
And this is the guy that got me into Stargate. See,
Yeah.
Josh is an original OG of
I did not
season
know that.
1. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
thank
also Farscape as well, which is great.
Yeah.
So, in a way,
You're the Stargate. I was going to say granddad, but that makes you sound old.
you're the godfather
No.
of Get Into Gate.
Oh, that's
How about
much
that?
better. yeah.
Thank you.
Godfather.
Thank
One
you,
ball too. I
appreciate
didn't
it.
know that. That was interesting the way Brendan explained
Yeah.
that.
One
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah.
Just one ball.
Just
Just
one.
one ball.
Just the one.
Yeah.
Haven't
Yeah,
heard
well,
that one
we
before.
dropped the plural when I was 15. It was for branding purposes. So.
Well, we're here to talk about episode 20 of season 4, Entity. If you are joining the show for the first time, we all do it because we love it. As we said, Josh got Brendan into it. Maddie and I found it ourselves. But Rhys, by God, he had a cousin and a brother loving it, and he hung on for 20 years. He said, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Until we all pressured him, bullying, cyberbullying, and he said, fuck it, I'm watching it. Shut up.
Still haven't got my first paycheck, by the way.
No, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming,
Yeah.
all
That's
right?
what
I
you
promise.
said.
I
You've
promise.
said that for 2
Putting
years.
it back into the business.
Yeah.
Literally.
Surprise!
Investment. I own 25% of this podcast now.
You know that breakfast we just shouted you? That's your 2 years' worth of payment, mate. So
Mitch just handed me an
I
advance
paid for
check before we walked in, too, so this is going to get orkies. This is...
don't break it up with Rhys. So we're going to go back to where we fell in love with it. We can't do it on television, on normal regular TV. We're going back to the DVDs. We'll see what this episode's about, and then we'll see what Rhys thought of it. When SG-1 sends a probe through the Stargate, things are getting awkward already. A powerful electronic impulse comes back through the wormhole and hides inside SGC's computer. But when this electronic entity suddenly jumps inside Carter's mind, SG-1 must choose between saving SGC and saving Carter's life.
So we're calling it a probe? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Nice little throwback.
When this started out, when the M.A.L.P went through and it went airborne, I thought, man, this is something we haven't seen before. Like, this could go anywhere. This could be an epic
Yes,
episode.
especially when they said this is an ancient planet, or the one that O'Neill got.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was the
from the-
ancient
He
one.
looks anxious.
And it just turned out not to be.
Well said.
I thought it was like Cold Lazarus in a Line of Duty, Message in a Bottle sort of mixed into one.
Yeah.
You know, alien entity from off-world comes on-world, does a bit of damage and mucks things up, and then they're just like, yeah, we've fixed it.
I was expecting at the end too, like, oh, it sacrificed itself for me, like Joel and R. So it was the new Joel and R.
Well-
like, oh no.
I'm like, are you going to have memories of computers for the next 4 seasons? He just starts talking in ones and zeros all of a sudden.
Yeah. Starts writing in binary.
Yeah.
No one understands.
No, I felt the same way. Maddie, I know a couple of weeks ago when we talked about the light, and you said that was your like bottom, at least so far, of season 4. Is this the other one that you were talking about?
Yeah, Maddie's been talking this down for a while.
Yeah, right.
That's why I'm glad Joz is here, because it takes the pressure off of me. I can just sit back now because there's more like voices just to fill the room. And I can just sit back and just pretend this thing never existed.
Well, it's a shame too, because like the start, like you said, it felt like it could go anywhere, Rhys. But then for the next probably 10 minutes, it felt very X-Files to me. Like, especially early X-Files where they would, it's everything, you know, like it was about, you know, computers, AI taking, I think there is like in the first 6 episodes, there's a building and it's AI computer takes over elevators and kills people and stuff. But just the idea that it kept going back to this camera in the room and just this ominous music and the blinking light, and it felt like an X-Files episode, and it had that sort of tone about it for probably 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, now it's feeling like Skynet, you know, it's moving computers by itself. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. And then it takes over a human host, and while Amanda tapping was like fun to watch, just like blankly staring, not blinking, and just like it was.
Yeah,
she was very
pretty
good.
That scene.
It was just like, oh, really? Like is this going to be the episode? Is the episode going to be about rescuing Carter and not being able to either use the takeover for something, or is it going to lead to something else on the world when they go back? It was just it was that. Like it was.
Speaking of Skynet, that M.A.L.P scene where they have the M.A.L.P room, that reminded me of, I think, T3.
Yeah,
and they did a similar thing where all the robots started coming to in the AI
becoming self-aware.
So you know it's a bad episode when the closest reference is T3.
Yeah, and
like,
T3 came out 2 years after that. After this, so I was like, oh, that's weird.
Did Cooper have much to do with this episode? Because it has the real feel of...
Peter DeLuise wrote it.
DeLuise.
That's what hurts the most.
Because I'm just thinking... Because I just imagine Cooper coming in and going, all right, they're go old, right? But they're techno go old. They enter your brain.
So yeah,
They're electric
Through a
bugs.
computer.
Electrical go old.
No, I think... Because I think there was premise here for a decent episode, so the only thing I can assume is what really got in the way of this is, one, you've got a first-time director, Alan Lee, who's actually an editor, and they just gave him a chance to direct. But then also...
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Well, no, and then this episode was also...
I know the shots.
They played around with...
Give me the shot.
Hang on, I'm sorry. Just,
I assume he's Asian. Is what I'm saying, Alan Lee.
Oh,
Yeah.
all those famous
Bruce's brother.
I know. I fucked that up.
yeah.
But
I know
that's
the
why
shots.
I had to do this.
I thought, I'm like, for a second, I thought he was Scottish.
Yeah.
He's an Asian Scotsman.
I thought he was just American with one of those child voices. I don't know how to do that.
So basically, our accents are on point this week.
It's Croatian.
Yugoslavian. Thanks.
But also, instead of filming on the normal 35mm for this episode they tried filming in HD. So they had all the HD cameras and that kind of stuff.
We need money for the tech stuff, so let's limit the budget of the show.
Yeah. Do we have to pay a director? No,
So
get
it
an
was-
editor to do it.
Yeah,
It's
so
fine.
new first-time director, new camera equipment. You know, the lighting obviously had to
Wow.
all be changed to deal with it. All that.
Mate, don't make up excuses. It was poorly written.
No, I think
Just because Peter DeLuise is your bum buddy, he doesn't even know that he is, the poor bugger.
I think there's a decent premise here, but yeah, just for me the execution was bad. I wasn't even impressed with Amanda Tapping, and I think she's amazing, but her silent acting, I think when we've already had O'Neill do the silent acting from like Fifth Race and stuff like that, like he set a precedent of like
Yeah, but how do
good
you
it
act like a
is.
computer, mate?
I reckon that was better than the next episode. I've gone ahead and watched the next episode. That was bad.
Double Jeopardy?
Yeah.
I would say this is worse. Double Jeopardy, I get a little bit of... It's still not great. I get a little bit of a kick out of it. But this one, I don't know. And to me, the resolution was the hardest part. It was like... Jack's like yelling at the thing inside Sam to be like, okay, get out of her and go back or we'll kill your entire, world.
Undoing all of Daniel's good work.
Yeah.
He's like, he's a step away from having like a treaty signed. And Jack's like, no, we're going to f*** your planet up, man.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, come on, bro.
And
Really?
then so
I
it's
like
like
it.
he's telling it to leave Carter. Telling it, leave Carter, leave Carter, leave Carter, will kill you. So it gets up out of the bed. He lets it wander off. Not be like, and then it gets to the end, and then Carter does the big sparking thing, like, oh, it's getting back into the mainframe. It's like, and then he like zats it to kill it. But there was no resolution of finding out. Maybe it was just going back into the mainframe so it could go home and leave them
that's what I
alone.
thought.
Yeah.
But there was no there was no like talking about that. Like that seems to me like a quintessential Stargate thing where it's like there should have been a scene at the end where it would have been like, Daniel having a go at Jack saying it could have been getting back to the mainframe to get itself into a M.A.L.P and go home to save its race.
I think that was because as Tilk said, it's got him a couple of times. It fooled him a couple of times. So do we wait and see what it's going to do, or do we just end it here?
Yeah.
Like, I get the stakes were higher because he just killed Carter, but at this point, what do we do? Do we stand there and wait till it gets back into the mainframe and then starts fucking everything up again, or?
Yeah, I totally get that, and I totally get why Jack acted, because there was no way to know whether it was going back into the mainframe to fuck us up or whether it was going back in the mainframe to get home. But they just didn't.
Yeah, we had
They
no
didn't
answers.
Talk about it. Yeah.
We
Yeah,
had no
there was-
answers
they
because they were supposed to
speculate.
be.
And that's what good sci-fi and that's what good Stargate does. It's
Yeah.
like, well, there's these two options, both are kind of right in a way, and which one do we go for? So it's like, that's the kind of stuff that I really get off on, is that, the philosophical debate of it all. So it's like when they didn't have that at the end, I
For
was
me,
just
it's
like,
hot chicks.
For me, it's Daniel Jackson without his glasses.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Wow.
For me, it's
Okay.
the weird alien stuff.
Rhys, just wait a
X-Files, kind of.
I know
That's
what-
the real X-Files.
Yeah,
Triple
yeah.
X-Files.
Reese's favorite will be like season 8 when Tilk starts doing Tai Chi, like shirtless and all that sort of stuff.
So
that's
hot.
that's when Rhys will be getting down.
So hot.
That's only happened in my mind so far, so that's good to know.
There's fan art online.
Ugh. Who do you think drew
Google
that?
the living shit out of it. It's
This episode kind of reminded me of that Johnny Depp movie.
Transcendence.
No.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Chocolate.
Really wish I didn't say the movie.
Yeah,
now.
so did I.
Yeah,
So did I.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
We stepped into that so hard and got
or
couldn't hang it.
chocolate. with
or
Johnny-
that either
Johnny
of
Depp.
us had said, chocolat or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
I'm
You're
sorry.
not fucking French, Mitch. It's chocolate.
There was no E on the
Chocolate
end.
without an E.
Am I the only one that's lost here?
The Johnny Depp movie,
No idea
Chocolat.
what's going on.
It's chocolate.
It reminded me of the
Right.
Jamie Lee Curtis movie Virus more than anything.
Ooh.
It's where that electrical virus comes down and
Oh.
possesses a battleship.
I thought you were going to do an STD joke there.
Ha ha ha! I wish I did.
Rewind the tape.
Yeah. We do that
I
again.
thought you were going to try and trap me next. I'm like, I'm not falling for it.
But this all wouldn't have happened if they just listened to Jack. Same as 2010, 2010, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
If they just listened to Jack, did what he thought, nothing bad would have happened. If they just had blown this nest up,
Yeah.
nothing bad would have happened.
I like them coming to
Except
that.
they would have blown up a giant hole in the base. That was the thing that got me.
Yeah.
Is right at the end when they're going to get rid of the nest
It's
after
put
they've
so
killed
many
it.
blocks of C4 there.
Right, why wouldn't you just disassemble all that tech, take it outside and
Yeah.
blow it up? Don't blow it up inside a
They couldn't
missile
touch
silo?
it. They couldn't touch it.
Too much logic. There.
Also, the walls wouldn't blow out. They'd be heavily reinforced. It's
concrete.
high military grade. It's an underground bunker.
yeah, and for
Drop a
high-
f- bomb on it.
That's why I wouldn't want to like make an explosion in an
Yeah.
underground bunker.
Concussive
Ah,
I mean,
forces.
you
Clearly-
underestimate.
I mean, they've got to self-destruct.
Rhys is an expert on C4.
So what's the self-destruct?
Ask me anything
there?
about it. Anything.
There's,
Go, ask me one. Ask me something.
there's literally a self-destruct that'll blow up the entire base. What do you think that's made from? Probably
Well,
C4.
Obviously made from the same planes as 9/11.
Oh, shit.
What, too soon?
oh,
I just think
yes.
Carter said if they cut that wire on the wall, that thing was completely isolated and dead. So they did that. So it's like they could have just, broken it all down in pieces and taken it outside and set it on fire. I'm just like, why would you want to blow things up in a confined underground concrete space?
It's Jack's way of doing things, mate.
The Air Force aren't known for their thinking.
He's just really sexually frustrated and wants things to blow. That's where I went with that.
Yeah, I just didn't get why Hammond came in and just disregarded O'Neill and went, yeah, do whatever you want, Major. As long as you assure me. It's like, how can she assure you that nothing's going to happen? It's a friggin' alien.
Well, it's technology, though, and he's the general, so he's just like, I'll do whatever Carter says. She's the tech guy.
Yeah, but Hammond's
She's the tech guy.
Hammond's like that. He wants to preserve the alien life form, whatever it is. And I think that's the way they convinced him. Was that like, you're going to kill off this life form, just to protect us, basically, which they should have done. But he's just like, try to talk to it.
There wasn't anything creative in this like there was in Message in a Bottle, where they're like, we'll go home or take us to a different planet type deal, so we can survive. We got no answers, and it was exciting to think that there was an ancient world dialed, and we got no answers, and that's what was most annoying for me.
It was too progressive. Like something always had to be happening or moving on to the next thing. Whereas Message in a Bottle was just like, what is this thing and what is it doing and how do we fix it? And that's how the episode went. Whereas this one, it's like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and then kill it.
Yeah, and with Message in a Bottle, it's like we were doing one thing because that was the right thing to do, and then Carter's like, no, we're doing the exact opposite of what we need to be doing to actually resolve the situation. There was that sort of turn, whereas there wasn't.
Yeah, they had to work it out themselves rather than the computer just going, oh, hi, hi, I'm a computer, and I've come here to kill you.
Yeah. I wonder if that's the mistake they made of going like, infecting Carter means there's no one to do the science to solve it. So it's like, I guess, next time they'll just go, we'll just infect Teal'c or we'll infect Daniel or someone like that. Because it's like, without Carter, who have you got to sort of, hypothesize and figure out ways to, fix it, I mean, Frasier did the best she could from a, medical point of view. Yeah. But from the alien computery point of view, it's just like, well, what else can be done?
Yeah, it was. There was, as you said before, there was no resolution. It was only speculation, and they sort of agreed on the speculation. It's frustrating.
At least if it was in a later season, because they bring back like Dr. Lee and a few other characters. So it's like from he was in one of the guys from Prodigy, and he becomes kind of like a regular kind of on base scientist guy. It's like
Dr. Lee.
Yeah. Remember, he was the one when the one guy was getting attacked by all the light bugs. He's the guy that ran away, the little chubby bald guy with the goatee.
In Prodigy.
If
it's a moon, then go right ahead.
The little light aliens that could pass through you?
Like last week.
The glow bugs.
The glow bugs.
Glowing bugs. We got glow bugs.
Oh, on that moon, right. Yeah.
And then there was the skinny guy who was getting attacked and he was on the ground. He's like, ugh, and the guy's like, ah, and he ran away. Yeah. He's like, running,
this.
Well, how do you defeat glow bugs that can go through you? Yeah. Run away.
We'll try.
Pussy. Try to punch one.
Go. Scientist pussy. Speaking of which, Walter gets absolutely KO'd by the EM field, and no one gives a shit.
Yeah,
Carter gets a little
burn, and there's a big to-do made of her. Like,
oh my God, Major Carter, are you okay?
Don't do this report.
You often know this sort of detail, Matty. Was there a real-world reason that they gave her that burn so that she could get around the rest of the episode with a bandaged hand? Because in the past, haven't they done that where someone's got a real world injury, so they sort of cover it in the
they've done it with like O'Neill's like eyebrow scar and when Daniel had appendicitis and stuff like that. But no, I think this was all just, as far as I'm aware, this was all just episode specific.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Walter. God, I know.
Was that his first stunt? Like, proper stunt? Like,
yeah,
I know in
his face acting too, and he went down, he's like, I was like, all right, mate, just dial it back a little bit.
They had him on the gurney. He's like, this is my time to shine.
And he went backwards off his chair and all that kind of stuff. Because like in There But For the Grace of God, he had like a gun and stuff like that. But he didn't really do any stunts there, did he? Whereas this was like a full-on...
Didn't need to.
No, he had a turtleneck. He had a Spaz 12 and a combat cardigan.
Yeah. But this time he's like blown off the back of his chair and he's on a gurney. It's like we've never seen anything else but a chair. Now he's on a gurney.
And Sila really shined in this too. Him and Sila, it was just...
Yeah. Absolutely.
They shined.
Sila had a brilliant moment in this one. I think it was better jokes than Jack had this episode.
Forget to change light bulb, Siler?
It's not my job, sir. Yes, sir, light bulb. Very amusing.
Yes, sir, light bulb.
That's better than anything Jack had the entire episode.
When that camera was focusing on their faces and then bringing up their profiles,
Yeah.
And then Styler came upstairs and he's like, sir, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, there's a chance for a good joke here when they bring up his profile, but they never did. And I'm like, oh, it's a missed opportunity.
With a wrench or something, like wrench handler.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Especially with DeLuise behind it, writing it, like you would expect that just that sort of hidden detail for the fans absolutely would have been there. Yeah. That is a missed opportunity.
On the black and white cameras too, that for some reason that irked me. It's like that's just a multi-billion-dollar installation, and they've just got these dodgy black and white cameras
From the 60s.
Yeah,
like,
from the 60s.
From 1969. I wondered what Siler was doing, because he kind of looked at the screen there and thought, what are these guys doing up here? Why are they filming themselves? And like Jack's just kind of like looking at the camera, dancing, and he just kind of went, all right, see yous, and walked back down the stairs.
He'll be in like the break room when they're like, "What do you think goes on in those SG1 meetings?" He's like, "I'm not going to say anything, but I swear I saw it up there one day."
It was sweet.
O'Neill Danforth.
Did Carter get in trouble for like? Is that why she was controlling the M.A.L.P at the beginning? Like that's just something that's way below her. Majors don't do that.
Yeah, it's right. I'm like,
don't do
that's
that.
when you knew something was going to happen.
Yeah,
because you're like,
yeah.
why are you there? You know, it was like back in
telegraphed that.
2010 when Janet featured so heavily in the future part of the storyline that when they went back to the present and she's just in the gate room so that she could be there for the payoff.
Yeah,
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. I'm like, why are you here?
Like when you think about it, the amount of worlds that they would dial out to and then send a M.A.L.P through and there'd just be nothing there. Why would they all be in that
Because it was an
room.
ancient address.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think
Yeah,
of.
no,
It's one of the addresses
got me
they
there.
got from Jack when he
Cool.
was.
Yeah, that's the only reason that I
Okay.
can think
Had
of.
That might even
Dream.
make sense for
And
Jack. For me, that explains Jack and Sam being there, but O'Neill would be like wake me if there's anything important,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I'll come to the
Pretty much.
briefing
And
room.
Hammond's like, thanks for coming, Jack. Oh, wouldn't miss it, sir.
And we-
It's my favorite part.
And we all know why Fraser was there, just to show off how much clout she's got now.
Who put her in charge? The U.S. Air Force. In medical matters, Dr. Fraser may overrule those of any rank.
That was funny.
Tilk knows his shit, man.
He does.
I'm not getting all my memos.
Just drops a knowledge bomb and walks away without any response.
It's like whenever he's not Kel Norimi, he's just sitting there reading his like SG1 handbook.
Yeah, well, he's got
Just like
nothing
all
else
the
to do.
rules.
Yeah, they don't
When
let
they
him
get-
out of the
Yeah.
compound, so it's like
Everyone else is at home and he's just reading
And Earth-
military books.
he's watching Jag, just like understanding how the military works.
Well, it's, I mean, Earth doesn't have any symbiote porn for him to watch, so it's like, well, what else can he do?
Yeah, he does. Watches David Attenborough, the Nature Channel.
yeah.
Oh God, look at those wormy things.
Pop Sea Patrol on. Shit, yeah, Lisa McCune. Let's do this.
Extreme state of arousal right now.
Deep state of arousal.
Extremely deep state. So when Fraser came down to have a look at Walter when he was on his gurney, how did she get there? Because we've established that her office or the infirmary is on a different level, right?
Well, that's what I was saying when they did go up, because in other episodes, I'm pretty sure that they have it on level 28
Right.
as well. So I think
Well, in that book, I've got not the illustrated companions, but the other one. It actually has a big schematic of the base, and it says the infirmary is on level 26.
okay, maybe it's just obviously it's the same corridor, so I recognize it.
Yeah, that's it.
You know.
Exactly. Well, the infirmary is also like Carter's
hall.
lab, the mess hall,
Yeah,
Daniel's
the gym.
lab.
The boxing gym.
Yeah,
Amazing.
It's their one multi-purpose room. They just keep redressing. So,
Yeah.
and which I guess you could, inside the world, you could say, well, maybe the base is kind of just a cookie cutter. It's exactly the same layout on every single level.
Yeah,
And
makes
the only way you can
sense.
tell where you are is whatever number is sort of painted on the side of the wall.
Color coded.
Imagine that though. It's like, got to strip this 8 off again and put 6 on.
Mm.
Be such a drag.
But that's what they
Shut
do
up.
in those bottle episodes. They,
Yeah,
they
But
sort of, okay, we've got to save money on the budget. We just got to film
yeah.
in
But
the
doing
same
it,
areas.
paint it again. Shut up, Grip.
I think the hardest part for
Change the
Fraser,
wall.
You were chasing bears the other day. Shut the fuck up and paint that wall.
I think the hardest part for Fraser though would have been getting Carter out of the control room, because there's nowhere to get a gurney into the control room. There's stairs on both sides, so that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Once you get her down the stairs, well, that's fine. You can, you can get her onto a gurney
Yeah.
into the lift and all that sort of
Totally
stuff.
not wheelchair accessible.
There is kind of a way out, like where the stairs come down out to the back, which we never kind of go to.
Oh,
You know, like
that's right, 'cause
behind the
doesn't-
supercomputer.
Doesn't someone come from behind there in one of the episodes
Yeah,
that we
like
did a few months ago?
Or Janet.
Yeah.
Oh,
just-
that's
oh, but she's so little. She
So
could
that's
just
where
be
the infirmary is, in that little hidey
right
hole.
behind the
Cupboard.
control room.
Yeah.
So there was
Batman
one
poles
time
it from 2 levels above.
changes into a doctor suit while she's coming down.
It's a label.
Stethoscope.
Dr. Fraser.
There was at one point here when Fraser was talking about the computer being downloaded into Carter's brain.
It's inside her.
How jealous was O'Neill when she said that? It just started from a far shot and just zoomed in, and he's just like, "That lucky bastard."
Well, it's funny you say that because one of the things that annoyed me at this episode was the fake voice, like the alien had to use while it was in Carter.
I had to put the subtitles
Stephen
on.
Hawking.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I was actually able to find. You know how we used it a while ago. You know, you can find out what people are thinking inside. Remember in Need, we found out what Daniel was thinking inside. We used that great bit of tech. Well, I did that. I found out what it would have sounded like if Jack had also been taken over by one of those machine aliens, and he and Carter, had a bit of fun.
You made some.
That feels so good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
Jesus.
that.
Baby.
I thought about this all day.
Not so fast. You are hurting
Oh, we're still going.
me.
I have the weirdest erection right now. The weirdest erection.
Yeah, it's all pixelated.
Yeah, it is so strange.
I
Ones
stole
and
that.
zeros coming out at the end.
Yeah, I got an 8-bit chubby.
That is a long MAC address.
SpaghettiOs.
Yeah.
I stole that from Family Guy. That was actually Stephen Hawking having sex with his wife.
Oh,
on Family
wow.
Guy.
It's a very awkward watch.
Yeah.
I thought
They're
you were
just
gonna.
both still in their wheelchairs, but on their side, on the bed, not moving.
Wow.
I thought for sure you made that.
Yeah, me too.
I stole
I
that
was
from, all
hoping
from Family
I was
Guy.
hoping one of us would clear it up because I could tell that you guys hadn't seen it before. And I'm
Yeah.
like, now it just looks like Maddie's some sick prick at
Yeah.
home.
No,
Like,
Well,
no,
not
it
sick.
was all
That's
Seth
not sick to
MacFarlane.
me.
It was all Seth MacFarlane.
Lincoln's at the gym right now, pissing himself laughing listening to that. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's the biggest Family Guy fan.
Just for people like us that haven't seen Family Guy, can you just edit that part out where Maddie explains it? And then we'll all just think that Maddie made that in his spare time.
Yeah, I was waiting for a sweet Stargate reference, like, I need to get in a deep state of you or something. It would have been pretty great.
It's just how much I hate that friggin' voice that the vocoder
Yeah.
that they use for
Yeah, I
Carter to talk
couldn't understand. I had to put the subtitles on. When I put the
Yeah.
subtitles on, the actual text was a different font. It was
Oh.
like all jagged font.
Oh, like a bit font.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no,
So
I just
props to the subtitle lady.
just
Also,
put in the extra effort.
just the doctor said when she was typing, just for that particular bit there, when Dr. Fraser was typing in stuff, and then she goes, "Oh, there's a terabyte of more than a terabyte of information in the
Yeah.
human brain." I'm like, oh, that hurts.
There's
Really-
way more.
Yeah. There's 3 billion petabytes. It's or more. So it's sort of
Wow.
Oh.
they got that information so wrong.
And
But I
how many-
suppose in
It hurt my
2000,
nerd brain.
in 2001, a terabyte was so much.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
so
It's
unheard
like that was
of.
that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
10 computers.
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
needed for a
There's
terabyte.
At least 3 terabytes in your
Yeah.
brain.
That could get you to the moon and back 1,000,000 times.
yeah.
Now you can get like a 3 terabyte portable hard drive that's the size of a deck of cards.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
So
really?
how many did you say? What is it?
3 billion petabytes. Over
Petabytes.
3 billion petabytes. Yeah.
Is that a pedophile joke?
No.
no,
I was
like
just
a-
going to jump on
Some of them do bite.
conversion.com,
Oh, conversion.com. Just
see how many terabytes that is.
Oh, the religious website.
If I knew. Yeah. Scientology one.
Yeah.
It's a cool old one, actually.
Yeah, I think, see, I'm not even thinking about it with a nerd brain. It was so simple in my judgment because you got those scenes where it's like, her talking is, you have picked this voice because you will not destroy her. This is why I feel comfortable in picking her. Blah, 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 you will not destroy her. And then it was like, do you ever plan on giving her body up? No. That was the one bit that shit me off more than anything this whole episode. And I knew it was coming. Because she's sitting there just not breaking eye contact. And I'm like,
good.
she's not going to say anything more than no. And I'm like, yeah, thanks a lot. The fact that I know Amanda Tappick wouldn't have to sit there with the voiceover behind
Yeah.
her, but the fact that she would do that, I don't know, maybe.
Yes was the single touch, but no was a 26 letter combination.
Almost.
Yeah.
You almost want the pause. Shit, typo.
I didn't. Yeah.
How do you backspace?
Your R key is sticky. Your R key is sticky.
Where's the any key?
Any. Shit, it's stuck. Any.
I love it how when they went in to see Carter, and then they just bring in a Zat, and I just thought, oh, that fixes everything. Just shoot her.
Right? Yeah.
Shoot her once. It'll be fine.
Disintegrator.
Yeah.
Sort everything out.
Done.
Don't
Yeah,
have to
why didn't
bury
they
her.
disintegrate the M.A.L.P room? Three clicks of the Zat.
Because it would have destroyed all of Cheyenne Mountain.
Yeah,
It's gonna hit the concrete, the whole
connected.
the whole thing just disintegrates.
All connected.
Siler.
I'm hoping you heard the episode a few weeks back, Joz, but
I'm a
we were-
massive fan of this show.
well, you would absolutely know what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, we played that bit from Shanksy on stage. It was over in Perth, Brendan. I think you got the bit where he spoke about the Zats and how he hated them. They're the worst thing ever invented by sci-fi ever because he's a dick.
The phallic. Yeah, the phallic.
This was pre-Origins, so
Yeah, pre-Origins. But he's like, oh, what happens if he's got up so confidently in that clip saying, if I shoot a guy and then I go swimming for an hour, and I'm like, why swimming? How's this going to play into it? No, nothing. That was just the first thing that came into his mind. And then I get shot again. Do I die or am I just knocked out again? And all of us in the room immediately went, no, you just knocked out again, obviously. Like, we've got that as viewers. I get that you might not watch the show that you make, depending on what kind of depending on what kind of actor they are. They don't always do that. That's
he
fair enough.
definitely is, though. You know, it's not just the dailies he watches. He watches like himself, and every time it's repeated on Sci-Fi or something like that, he's like, "Oh yeah,
this
he
one.
DVRs it.
Yeah, he does.
Skip.
You know he
Let's
does.
go past RDA.
Yeah,
Oh, here's me.
yeah.
But then there's that. Then I thought, well, he clearly didn't. He didn't remember this episode because O'Neill clipped Carter with it. Nothing happens, and then he shoots her. For me, that's almost long enough that if that, like, the fact that she didn't obviously pass out, I'm like, well, then of course she wouldn't be dead. Because it was like almost long enough for me to kill someone. You need to, it's almost like a 3 or 5 second rule. Yeah, it's like a double tap.
It did work. It just killed the alien that was controlling her.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, how superpowered did this entity make Carter, where it could defy the physiology that otherwise Zats have to adhere to?
It's inside her body. The Zat hits her body first, but it kills the alien and not her.
Yeah,
it's like that's like saying basically.
No, it killed her. She was on life support.
Yeah, her consciousness was in the M.A.L.P room.
Yeah.
Yeah, but shouldn't it have just killed her body?
It did.
Completely?
Because Fraser said she's not breathing on her own. Like, the machine's the only thing keeping her alive. We should think about turning it off.
Well, yeah,
She
didn't seem like she thought too long about that either. Janet.
Yeah, I know.
I think we should consider switching her off.
Yeah.
I'm like, as
been
an
5
audience member,
minutes.
I've just entered this scene.
Yeah.
I've just realised how long after she got clipped this is set, and you're already talking about switching off her life
Yeah,
support.
maybe call her dad to see if he wants to come say goodbye.
Is there anything that Toker could do? Oh, sorry, there was. Oh no, we just.
But it's like based
Fraser
on that
said
theory,
it.
couldn't you just like double tap a Goa'uld with a Zat and it's like, oh, that killed the Goa'uld inside, but the host is still safe. We'll just put it on life support. It's like it's a bit of a just a bit of a fuck around.
Yeah, there was like
not
three bits to me that were just why? Because science, and one is the fact that well, for all intents and purposes, a computer took over a bio being. Okay, fine, that's fine. I've seen that before. That's the setup of the episode. If I can accept that, I can accept the episode, and I do. Then there's the bit that the Zat doesn't kill the body, but killed the entity. But then when you get back into the room where they're like, oh no, the entity downloaded Carter's consciousness into the computer, and the fact that Shanksy of all people was like, she's inside the computer, it's in here. But then like, okay,
I would
fine,
have bought that more if Siler had said it.
maybe
but not Daniel.
Yeah, I discovered it with my wrench, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, I can accept that. But I'm like, okay, I get that the end of the episode, the payoff of this needs to be you guys re-downloading her consciousness back into her body, but how do you plan on doing that? And how? Because science, all they did was just hook up some
hands on the keyboard.
Some wires to her head and
just
just
a human USB port.
just hit shift 5 times until they got an error message and went okay, and then it worked.
Shoving a USB cord up her ass.
I'm glad you said ass then. I thought you were going to go somewhere else. Right in her iris.
In the Shapper eye.
You took it my eye or my shepherd eye?
Do you reckon that's why they had Carter as the victim, so they didn't have to explain the science stuff.
I think so.
Because otherwise, Carter would be the mastermind behind downloading a computer program into a human's brain.
And it would have been a big thing.
And she would have had to have explained it.
And that's one of my favourite parts of Stargate is when Carter goes off in this big scientific tangent of explaining things, and then just as they start running out of bullshit to put into a script, you have O'Neill going, "Okay, English, please."
I suppose,
and they go, "We're just going to download it." Okay, good.
And there would have been no way for Carter to explain how to do it with a donut. It's like, that's not going to work. She can't use a donut as a prop to be like, so the donut is the brain, and the hole in the middle is where we're going to put the consciousness. And she just like puts an apple in it, and she's like, so that's what it's going to be. It's
So who did make the decision, or who did teach them where to put the bloody stickers on her head, and then where to down? I mean, obviously it's from the floppy disk drive that they downloaded from. But how
terabytes?
All 3 terabytes of Carter's brain.
A M.A.L.P's worth.
A M.A.L.P's worth. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, she had no memory loss or anything.
Yeah,
completely fine.
It's amazing.
Perfect.
Do you guys want to know what Amanda Tapping herself thought of this episode?
Oh, I'd love
Please.
Wheeling the piano, boys.
Gather round the fire.
Graham.
It's time for another reading with High Pitch.
God, you guys weren't exaggerating. That thing is huge.
Right?
Yeah.
It is huge. How do you
Piano's
even fit
pretty
it in?
big as well.
The candelabra
put it
just
on.
seems excessive to me. We've already got the fireplace. The candelabra just seems too much.
I actually disagree. I think it
The
table
finishes
runner.
it. It
comes as
finishes
a
it.
package, though.
And actually, Josh, while you're here and you're closer to the door, can you just dim the lights? Because otherwise the candelabra
Yeah,
doesn't
sure,
really...
Yeah, it doesn't give it full effect.
No.
How's that? Is that all right?
Perfect.
Amanda Tapping says, I found it quite hard to buy into the story. And these are the times when, as an actor, you just have to acquiesce to your character and say, okay, I'll just have to become Carter 110% and react to this situation as she would without analysing it as Amanda. You just have to relax and give everything over to your character. The beauty of it is having this great challenge of playing a very different Carter. All I did was lie in bed twitching, and or else I sat and stared at people the whole episode. It was terribly difficult, she winks.
Wow.
It's like, again, O'Neill in Message in a Bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Graham,
Graham,
hit
done.
the road.
Every week we tell you, mate, stop playing as soon as the audiobook closes.
Yeah.
Maybe
really
this-
good to meet you, Graham. I'm a massive fan of your work. Massive fan.
He won't
He's
talk
just
to you
desperate to
unless
get
you
to
pay.
like the riff
Yeah, wow.
in that song. He's just desperate to
Yeah,
get there and just,
wants to
Yeah.
get to
He wants
just
to shine.
can't.
We spent a month working on it, and we always tap out like 8 seconds before he gets there. I'd be pissed too. Sorry, who wrote that? Was it Michael Shanks? Because that seems like Shanksy wrote the answer for her. Like, didn't agree with what they wanted to do. I just figured, okay, I'll bow down to their wishes and like their petty level. Like, just it's very strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
But fair enough. I guess when you show up and it's like, here, this is what you're doing this week. It's like, really? I didn't ask for this. It's not like I've asked to be written out of the episode because...
You'd have a lot of spare time, though, not having to learn any lines.
Yeah.
I
But again,
wouldn't mind it,
I
personally.
think it would have been good for her to have like an actor's director to work with her on that. Because it's all about the eye movement and the facial expression and all that kind of stuff. And she kind of just looked like deer in the headlights, but angry the whole time. Like her face just stayed the one way the whole time.
How should I act this? I don't know. Ask the editor.
Yeah.
Constipated.
He's busy over there playing with
Pool
the new,
cramps.
He's over there busy playing with the new HD camera, trying to figure out how to shoot this because it's the first ever episode, and she's just there, just going, "I'll just figure it out myself then." Okay, sure.
Oh, she's a seasoned professional.
Yeah, I think this did get away from her a bit.
I'll
for-
stare
for
blankly
me.
into the abyss.
Yeah, angrily.
There was a point there where Carter's talking to Hammond about doing a low-level format of all drives, and like all the data that's not properly backed up will be deleted. And Hammond's still confused, but
All
he
one
was just
terabyte of
thinking,
it.
yeah, the whole terabyte.
Yeah.
Good, I don't have to clear my internet browsing history.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, does that include my browser history? Yes, it does. Okay, do it.
Stole your
Okay,
punchline. Sorry about that.
I don't need anybody. No, it's completely fine. I don't need anybody to look at that.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
but
weird.
Hammond's like his internet browser history would be new types of self-destruct codes,
Yeah.
pictures of statues of bald eagles,
Yeah.
things like that.
Countdown
like,
timers.
Yeah, that's his porn. That's
Just
his
watching
porn.
every action movie ever where they clip the wire with like a second to go.
Yeah.
He's just watched 17 James Bond movie like climaxes all at once. It's like the greatest ever.
Ebony coloured buttons. books of categories.
Head polish, just wax for the top of your head, just to polish it off. He's just trying to find a good deal on it, just to bulk buy.
Can I say something controversial? Because you did say that you loved.
Well, not the show, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Not the right show to do that.
We're pretty straight laced, you know.
I have noticed that.
Very G-rated.
Yeah, I have noticed that in the episodes that I've listened to.
Yep.
Yeah. So I thought this was the best acting of Amanda Tapping's career.
Really?
Yeah. I could just. I've been a fan of Stargate since episode 1. Okay, like 96, like since that. And back, the science fiction was slim pickings back then. Okay, you had your TNG, you had X-Files, you had Stargate and stuff. So you didn't pick. Like, I was afraid to pick. Everything was great. Everyone's acting was great and blah blah. But rewatching the episodes years on, I've realised I'd always hated her acting. I just always did. It was just
too forced.
Yeah. It was. Just,
There's a lot of the forced stuff when she talks to herself, like when she's
explaining shit.
Well, there's a double. Like, I don't mind the exposition stuff,
right,
but when she's talking to a wall, like in Ergo, she's talking to no one, and it's just a bit overdone.
She can't play off herself, not like Richard Dean Anderson can.
Yeah,
he can play off himself.
Wait till next week.
Tune in next week, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's why I think maybe like a Martin Wood or a Peter DeLuise would have really helped her work on her performance, because this episode really does hinge on you not seeing Carter. You want to see the alien inside Carter, and I think you just kind of got Carter with her eyes really wide, looking angry the whole time. With weird hair, and it's just like
weird hair. The hair sticks out for me the most, especially she's standing there, that ultra wide shot. The lightning come out of her hands, but I could only focus on her hair because it was all.
I can assume it was the static from the alien. Like, it was all the electricity running through her body. It was just the static, just messing up with her hair. Because
So did I mean, in the end, they didn't even like previous episodes. They've created fail safes with different aliens that they've come across, which is say, high pitched noise when they come through the Stargate, that should deter or show us that
the
if
Re2
anything,
and shit.
Re2,
the
that sort of thing.
Scanner
Whereas this was like, this bug came up through like alternating current.
Yeah, like a salmon
through the video feed. So they didn't
radio.
Yeah, they didn't do any fail safe to fix that, did they?
Right, and if you think about the aliens on that planet, surely they would have had a contingency plan. They would have been like, okay, well, they sent through this first alien, but they would have been, you either need to report back and let us know what you've done, or we'll call in another 10 hours and send someone else as backup or something like that. So there's nothing stopping the aliens from just dialing up again and sending another one straight through.
Yeah, they need a connection to here, but... Oh, actually, no, yeah.
That's what I mean. The aliens could have just dialed...
That's right, dialed straight here.
No, because they came back through the open wormhole.
Yeah, and that's true. And
yeah, but if they dial back here, they can just, I don't know, shoot.
Well,
get one of their own M.A.L.Ps
I guess
to shoot
the only thing there is...
something through.
I didn't see a DHD there.
Well, and the other thing
there
is you don't know who's dialing in. You never know what address someone is dialing from. So theoretically, that alien race doesn't know what our address is, so they wouldn't be able to dial us again, I guess. So, but you'd think, if they've got the M.A.L.P, they would have been able to like download all the information from the M.A.L.P probably, if that had info in there.
You'd hope they wouldn't put any like who killed JFK on a M.A.L.P or anything, like
they wouldn't have language databases or anything on there, so they wouldn't be able to decipher. What they
that's
found.
true. That's a fair point.
Ones and zeros.
Yeah.
Up, down, left, right.
A, B. Finish him.
Finish him.
IDKFA. Was that Doom? IDKFA? Maybe not. I'm thinking of the God mode in Doom. Sorry, I don't know why that shit sticks out with me.
Yeah. That was.
The other thing I wanted to mention is if you have a look, I reckon this was probably just Daniel Jackson or Michael Shanks basically just like, goofing on the first-time director, giving him a hard time. I've got a little picture there if you want to show the boys, bitch. At 8 minutes 40, for those playing along at home, if you have a look, when Daniel sort of walks in and crosses his arms, his patch on his shoulder.
Oh yeah, I did notice
is
that.
like
sideways,
all off kilter. Like if you have a look there, so it looks it looks straight. But then if you think about it, if he dropped his arm down, like his Earth symbol would be like completely wonky. Yeah.
And in the next shot, it's straight.
Yeah,
like when you're looking at Daniel and Carter's kind of close up.
Yeah,
but he wouldn't get into trouble for that. He's not military.
No, but I reckon that's just Shanksy, like in between scenes, just like because they're just Velcro.
I
on.
reckon that's you were just turning him into an arse.
Yeah,
This
that's
shit.
just like him and Judge.
shit.
Him and Judge just playing around offset, just like playing a game of tearing off each other's patches or whatever and frisbeeing them around, and he's just slapped it on without without looking at it, being like, well, it's not my problem. It's the continuity person's problem.
I'll get in
And
trouble.
directed by an editor, so you'd think that they wouldn't have things
Right,
like
you
that.
think the editor would have been like, ooh.
Oh, he didn't edit it. Come on.
It's not like it's Tilk's emblem on his head.
No.
That's true.
They'd never do that.
I'm just thinking about that. That'd be rough, wouldn't it? If you're an editor, you get a job as like to direct an episode, and then like you can direct it, but you can't edit it. We'll get someone else to edit it.
Oh, wouldn't that be frustrating?
Wouldn't it? To be like,
be
but that's what I
hovering.
do, man.
You'd be hovering, I reckon, over his
I think they
shoulder.
do hover anyway, the directors. It would just be quicker for him to do it himself.
But then I suppose you don't have that sort of,
Gives double wages.
neutral third party to be like, nah, mate, you don't need that.
Oh, I'm
You don't
sure
need that.
Cooper will be all over that.
Oh, can I just say, being a fan of this podcast, I absolutely love how much you hate Robert C. Cooper. I love it.
We're not even sure that it's warranted, to be
It is
honest.
100% warranted, and I can't stand him. I hate, loathe, detest, and despise are the words that come into mind when someone mentions him.
Nice.
My nephew is called Cooper, and I was like, just call him something else. Just call him... I respect your choice, but call him something else. Because I'm just going to... Cooper!
Yeah.
It's just going to
Is that
be
what
that.
you do?
I try not to. I try not to. He's innocent, and he really likes bugs and stuff like that. He might be an entomologist.
He really likes bugs.
Let's hope he never gets into writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, my favourite line of this episode was...
It's inside her.
Okay, second favourite line of this episode was when Daniel's like talking to Jack and Teal'c, and he's like, you guys, you protect. That's your job. I understand that. But Carter wasn't wrong to try and communicate with this thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I was like, yeah, because it's worked so many times before.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that's
especially
and
on
they're
base.
the amazing bits.
They're
of
explorers.
Stargate.
Yeah. And they...
Yeah.
You shouldn't contaminate another race.
And that kind of, with what you were saying, Matty, about like sci-fi being, when it's at its best, it's presenting two things that are both right. It's just which one is the better. And that like Jackson wasn't there saying you were wrong to want to destroy this thing, but she wasn't wrong either. Like it was, I dug that too.
Yeah,
like,
it's the risk you take.
Yeah.
It's like these people could have become an amazing ally if our technology didn't accidentally completely f them over.
Yeah.
They actually could have been an amazing ally for us potentially. That's the nature of just dialing up an address and going to explore. You never know what you're gonna find.
Well, imagine being able to like have an entity take over, for all intents and purposes, Apophis. Like, someone take over a body that's already been taken over, but that kind of infiltration sort of thing. Like, whether or not that's something they're able to do easily or often or anything, as they did in this episode, but just the idea that, you could use them.
Parasite the parasite.
Yeah.
It's time to find out
If Rhys has been paying attention.
Yeah. It's back again. I don't know how many weeks I can keep going with this.
Well, you just wrote the questions
week,
right
right?
then.
Experiencing this live is amazing, by the way, from a fan's point of view.
Oh,
this
we
is
get it. You're a
amazing.
fucking fanboy. Shut up.
Wow.
Now you've got the full experience of being in
now
the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to cut that bit out.
You're not truly one of us until Reese has yelled at you.
Oh, no, I understand that.
Feel that?
From last night.
Yeah.
It's inside her.
I've known Rhys since he was a little... now he's just a big...
They're massive.
Yeah,
Huge.
yeah.
So, 5 questions on the board.
What board?
The board there.
It's like you
Next
saying
to Graham.
you came across my desk. You don't have a desk.
Yeah, well, these trivia
came across
questions
that.
have come across my desk, and I just thought, you know what, let's share it. Let's share it with the group. 5 questions, 30 seconds on the clock. Time starts at the end
Of the first
of
question.
this.
Short answer questions.
What is O'Neill's real first name?
O'Neill's real. John.
Correct. When Carter was in the computer, what words appeared on the monitor screen?
I am here.
Correct. True or false? As of today, the Twitter account of Lincoln Lewis has a verified tick, but Stargate creator Brad Wright does not.
True.
Correct. Which hand did Carter burn?
Left.
Correct. Name all of the 5 races.
Oh, God. Furling, Asgard, Tari.
Oh, so close. You ran out of time, bro. So this is what Daniel Jackson has to say.
Rhys, your father made you wrong.
Sorry.
You stupid son of a bitch.
You are the fifth race.
No, I get it. I've got that one. I said Tari.
Tari,
So,
ancient
Furlings,
You forgot the Nox.
Asgard, and
Nox. Right. Yeah, haven't heard from them in a while.
Yeah, you weren't again.
Yeah,
Excellent.
They're dead. They're all dead.
Dead. Their hair caught on fire because it's made of hay, and they're all dead.
That's made a.
just to go back to introducing Brendan to Stargate, which it was.
Hang on, I'm not sure if we've finished paying Rhys out.
Oh, right,
Not
haven't we?
getting it right.
No, keep going, keep going.
Is there one more there?
Sorry,
Is there one
Joz,
more
you
there?
have the floor.
Yeah. No, it's just that it's you've since become Obi-Wan to my Darth Vader.
Yes.
Like it's that you've
No,
surpassed.
I
It's
am the
full
master.
circle. It's full circle.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Hey, we thought this room was geeky before. This
Yeah,
is
and
This is turning into a full circle jerk.
but to hear Rhys
Padawan.
like use these references and stuff like that, it's just it gets me going.
Am I the Padawan?
You are.
Yeah.
You are. And
Yeah.
and again, and you got that right
Yeah.
too.
So I'm Luke Skywalker.
I've got the weirdest
No, you're
family
not.
erection
No,
now.
I would say-
No. I'm Luke Skywalker.
I would say you're at this stage. You're
Jar Jar Binks.
You're you're episode 2 Anakin Skywalker. It's like, well,
Oh, yeah.
you've got a seat on the council, but we won't grant you the rank of master.
yeah. And you look like
Yeah, wait till I go and murder all of you. Matty, I am your father.
I can already see the glowing yellow in his eyes. You're not my father, but I like to call you daddy.
All right, that's episode 86 of Get Into Gate. Talking episode 20 of season 4. We will be back next week to talk episode 21, Double Jeopardy, on the next Stargate SG-1.
Richard Dean Anderson stars on the next Stargate SG-1.
Ooh, Richard Dean Anderson's in the next one.
Is he?
I might
He's
watch
starring. He's starring
Twice.
I'm going to check this out.
clever, right?
Until then, you can check out all of our old podcasts on the Get Into Gate podcasting channels. Wherever you find your podcasts, just search Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast. Follow, like, subscribe, share, whatever you do on the various social media pages. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is where you can find us. Just again, search Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast. You can otherwise support the show, join the show, all that. Get exclusive extras and behind-the-scenes secrets, conspiracies, mysteries. Patreon.com/Get Into Gate.
And some people have done just that. We've got some new patrons we'd like to welcome to the team.
Oh, legends! Tell me about them.
First, we've got Brad Beatty, who joined Patreon just to support us.
Beat.
Which is
up.
pretty amazing. Another weird last name here.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, hey.
Please.
Don't judge.
Haven't even
Racial.
named
I'm just
them.
saying
And
mean.
you're saying they're weird.
It's not racial. All I'm saying is weird.
Well,
because
Matty,
we don't know yet.
You're so sexist,
I
Matty.
have a history of mispronouncing last names. So anything slightly odd, I'm going to freak out on because you guys are going to come down hard on
Bloody
me.
hell, why do you hate people?
Jess Pizzol? Pizzol?
How do you spell it?
You murdered it.
Pizzol. Pizzol.
Z in Australia, but
Mate, I'm
Yeah.
American, so suck it.
Pizzle.
Pizzle? Anyway, Jess Pizzle, welcome. Thank you very much.
Jess,
Jess,
welcome. Welcome to the team.
Neil Johns, and then a special one, a
Johnsy.
special shout out to Noah and Nick, known as Ancient Soul. They've joined us on Facebook. They've joined us on Patreon. And we've actually inspired them to start their own little Stargate journey. Now, Noah is a hardcore Stargate fan, and his friend Nick hates Stargate SG-1, likes Atlantis, and a few other bits and pieces. They've actually started their own YouTube series. So if you want to go and check that out, they're not doing the full series. They're just doing sort of, Noah's picking a few episodes here and there.
His favourite.
Trying to get his mate into
Yeah,
it.
trying to
Yeah,
get
good
Nick
call.
into it.
Yeah.
Nick's being a dick about it, though. I tell you what. I mean, come on.
Keep
Oh,
being
mate.
a dick, Nick. We like it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's our
I don't
shtick.
know. He was
shtick,
pretty. If you guys have watched the video, he was pretty harsh on Thor's hammer.
I
And
thought
I'm
it was
like-
hilarious. I
It
love
was,
it.
it was brilliant, but I just thought you guys would get butthurt about him, giving
No.
it to
Nah,
Thor's hammer.
brilliant.
But yeah, so Ancient Soul is in the solar system, SOL. So if anyone wants to check that out on their YouTube channel, go and check them out.
Great
And,
people.
Welcome to the Patreon
Yeah.
team.
They are
They're
sponsoring
sponsoring the show.
Always an interesting fan when you hear, like,
Jumped on board.
in the Stargate realm where you meet someone, they're like, SG-1, not for me. That was a bit shit. Loving Atlantis though, like not that I'm judging Atlantis, but when you don't like what birthed the spin-offs and all that sort of thing, it's like, Empire Strikes Back. Not for me. I'm more of an Attack of the Clones kind of guy. It's like, get the fuck out.
For a
Get
second,
the
I
fuck
thought I was the same because it's like, well, I love like DS9 and Voyager, but I'm not really a fan of like the original Kirk Star Trek.
Yeah. No one is,
but
mate.
It's like,
no one is.
But they're separated by like 100 years in universe, whereas it's like.
Yeah.
Like Atlantis literally couldn't exist without SG-1.
You're goddamn right it couldn't.
They overlap for like 3 seasons and share half a cast. So it's like it's really
and SG-1
weird.
is the reason that, the team is the reason that we found that place.
Atlantis can even be a series.
If you don't like SG-1, just do yourself a favour. Give it 10 seasons. If you don't enjoy it after that, then stop watching.
If you can't watch every episode twice, then just take a break.
Yeah, well, if you do watch 10 seasons and you don't like it, don't watch Arc of Truth. Fucking shit.
If you don't like SG-1, you would probably love Stargate Origins.
Yeah, and you're probably not listening to us if that's the case.
Yeah. No.
And if you are,
Thank
and
you.
you do hate SG-1, f*** you.
Oh, God. It's
Brilliant.
the tagline for the Gibson Brothers podcast all over again.
Absolutely. Get.
Another Patreon exclusive. for
In
anyone who
sync
doesn't know
too.
what's
Both
going
of
on
you,
there.
like you understood where he was going with that the moment he said get.
We've been telling each other to get for 20 odd years, man.
Yeah, I've
It
been
is-
there.
If there's
Now-
a gap,
Witnessed it every
that was
single.
another thing you
Yeah. I taught you how to say. Like I literally knew you both since you were born.
Look, Josh, here you going? Get.
Yeah, look, I'm not a fan of the Gibson Brothers podcast, but episode 3, it's a Patreon exclusive, but episode 3, I have to say I quite enjoyed. So I do want to give it a plug and say if you've ever wondered if it's possible to sexually assault a raccoon, this is the podcast for you.
Yeah.
And
And-
so jump onto Patreon
Say no
purely
more.
Look,
purely to
it's
find
not-
out the answer to life's big question.
Yeah.
It's
You
weird.
say you're not a fan, but you've listened to 100% of the podcast.
Yeah.
It's weird that you say that you like this episode the most because I messaged Brendan earlier in the week when it first dropped and I said, I knew I was always borderline on our other ones, but this one's next level. Like I was
Loose.
Maybe
Really?
it was
I
'cause
thought
of-
it was more restrained. I thought you guys
Oh,
were
really?
more better. You were better
Yeah.
behaved.
maybe because it
It
was
was just across the board.
the
There
stories.
was a lot less
yeah.
C-bombs. There was a lot less C-bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Maybe-
weren't as drunk.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
there was more stories about my own life,
Yeah.
whereas there was none about Brendan's. Maybe that's why I felt uncomfortable about
I think
No.
from what I've gathered, you guys need to spend more time on the red label and less time on the blue label. I think the red label, you guys seem to be a little
It's
bit more.
way cheaper, bro.
Unless,
I think-
of course, as we say,
Quantity, not quality.
they want to sponsor the show.
Oh, they're great people, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
I think the point of
Johnny Walker Blue.
the point of the Gibson Brothers podcast is that we don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Blatantly
thanks for your
obvious.
advice. but
Oh,
you
we got
don't-
a Twitter account
Yeah.
too.
Is that the other tagline? The Gibson Brothers podcast. We tell you we don't care, but at this point, it's pretty obvious.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it sounds like every conversation I've ever had with you guys in history.
Yeah,
Like it's
thank
pretty
you.
much
It's
just
pretty much
an
it.
extension of that. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. It's,
You're welcome.
It's
It's
like
just us, you know.
it's like being in our family living room back when we were young. and growing up.
Absolutely.
Except not drunk.
I look
Well,
forward to you guys being
I was
nominated
pretty
by
drunk.
Mumbrella next year for Australia's Best Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Taking that stage.
Umbrella.
How do we make
They'll
that
love it.
happen? How do we make that happen?
have to be on for free, I guess.
Yeah. All right, we'll be back next week to talk Double Jeopardy, the penultimate episode of Season 4. In the meantime, if you want to come and talk to me individually outside of the show, and I don't know why you would, but I'll give it to you anyway, Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram. Maddie, where can we find you?
At High Pitch Maddie on the thing.
And if you don't want to talk to Brendan, where we can talk to Brendan?
If you don't want to talk to me, you can jump on at the Brendan Gibson and don't talk to me.
Don't talk
Just
to
have a look.
Don't follow any of us. Reese, where can we definitely not follow you?
I'm not at the Flying Gibson.
I'm on the dark web, so shut up. Don't ask. No, I'm just. It's Joz TV on Instagram. You can follow me there.
You know, every time I talk to you,
Batman69.
you give me a different handle to follow.
Yeah, I do. I do. I enjoy that.
That
I
one's
like giving-
legitimate.
Every
isn't
search I put
That
in,
one's
it's
legit.
like no results. I'm like, but he
Dark web,
told
he's
me
got
that was
every
it.
week. He's got updated every week.
Joz wouldn't lie to me.
What was the one you said in the Mission Impossible one?
Oh, Gown Daddy.
Open Gown Daddy.
Yeah.
Open Gown Daddy.
the real Gown Daddy.
Yeah, the real Gown Daddy. Yeah.
Wow.
Please
And
jump
that
on
is
him.
definitely a different website.
That's not taken.
That is a different website.
I
It
just
is a
like-
sponsored one. It's very similar to Patreon.
Yeah, you do
except
have to
there
pay.
are live webcams involved.
That's the dark web.
Yeah. And it's what gown is he going to wear today?
I like the
What gown is he not going to wear today?
Yeah.
I like the open gown because it suggests you're not wearing pants.
Of course. I'm not wearing
Suggests
pants right now.
it's demanded.
Yeah.
Why else would I have it open?
Hey, Laker girls.
Laker girls.
I don't see the point.
Oh my
Let's get
God.
out of here.
GetIntoGeek.com.